Okay, another installment here of our video lectures for the year, and this is a very exciting one because it's one of my favorite topics to teach about, especially when we talk about all the different philosophies and imagining life in a state of nature and why there is government and what the purposes of those governments should be. I just love all that stuff. Alright, so we're going to start talking about that by talking about one of my favorite philosophers here, John Locke. And so we only have 5 slides here, so you probably won't even need a whole page of notes. I just want you to make sure you remember what John Locke believes, all right, and what the natural rights are. That's going to be our key here for this PowerPoint lecture. You need to be able to tell me what the natural rights are and kind of just like the basics of what John Locke believed. Okay, we're going to read in class his book here. Well, it's kind of like an essay, The Two Treatises of Government. We'll do that in class together because it's a little more challenging. And so he arrived at his ideas on government by doing just what you did, right, for homework and in class. He imagined what life would be like in a perfect state of nature. So remember when we did that assignment, Thinking Like a Philosopher, where you are imagining that we are on a deserted island, cut off from the rest of the world. What would it be like? How would we organize ourselves? How would people behave? Those kinds of things. So he would think a lot about that. And that's how he arrived at his theories, which he talks about in his book, Two Treatises of Government. Okay, so what freedoms did people have before the founding of governments? This is what John Locke said. He said, people have the freedom to choose their own action, freedom to control themselves and possessions without the consent of others. So basically, people can do whatever they want, wherever they want, whenever they want, and however they want. Alright? But what he said was, if I'm doing whatever I want, and you're doing whatever you want, then there's always going to be chaos. Alright? People are never going to be secure. People are never going to be organized, because if I can take all your stuff, you can take all my stuff. So what he says is that people have 3 basic natural rights. Natural, right? We call them natural rights because you are born with them. They are given to you by God, by the Creator. It is not something that is given to you. It's something that is just there. It's just there as soon as you're born. You have the natural right to these 3 things. And he said life, liberty, and property. All right, so people have the right to live, to survive, and be safe. All right, the right to life, that nobody should be able to freely take that right away from you. That you have the right of liberty, or freedom. You want to be free and make your own decisions and live as you please. And you also have the right to property, that you have the right to own things that are necessary to survive. Things like food, housing, tool, or land. Okay? So you are born with these things. No government gives them to you. No other person gives them to you. You are born with it. So, he says, because there are dangers, everyone is free, and a person's natural rights will therefore be threatened. So if we are sure we all have the right to life, liberty, and property, but if we're all on a desert island and there's no government, then who's going to protect those rights? Who's going to make sure that we actually have those things? So John Locke said that individuals must form governments in order to protect their natural rights. Remember, these 3. So we have government, and we need government in order to guarantee us these 3 things that we are all born with. Okay? So, what he says then is that each individual will therefore agree to create and live under one government. And that government should always be protecting the natural rights of individuals. So government have the power to make and enforce laws, and we call this agreement the social contract. Right? So he's really key here in the creation of the social contract theory, which is the most influential in the formation of our government. So, like I said, make sure you know these 3 natural rights: life, liberty, and property. Everybody is born with these. Everybody's guaranteed to have these. And in order to make sure that we have that, we enter into a contract or into an agreement to have government. So the government will make and enforce laws that protect our natural rights of life, liberty, and property. Alright? That's it. Told you. It's quick. Less than 5 minutes. Alright, we're going to continue talking about this in class. We're going to read some of John Locke's actual words and what he says about this. And it's going to lead us into our watching of Lord of the Flies and talking about the different theories of government and just really just get our minds all scholarly and ready to study government for the rest of the year. See you in class!